You
I
wanted
actually,
it.
no, I know what you're saying. I agree with you.
It's Goldfinger.
Hello, Goldfinger.
You already doing it?
Oh, we're doing it right now.
Just had to say your name.
We just had to say your name because it gets such a buzz.
He was the first guy that I met when I got here.
He's a nice man, isn't he?
He is. And he does helmets for heads, which is, here in the Philippines, there's a lot of things. And one of the things is that kids don't wear, everybody rides a motorcycle, but nobody wears a helmet. So he raises funds and he puts out helmets. I think he's doing 1,200 helmets for one of the barangays around here. And I'm going to make a donation to his cause. So if you see me, just say, saw the interview with Old Dog, and you're a new subscriber, and I'm going to make a donation to his helmets for heads. So anyway, I was trying to think of how I could make a donation. I'd like to do that, and I'm also looking for additional subscribers. So there is that too. But,
Yeah. Well, I'll match it. How's that
Oh.
idea? So,
Thank you.
You want to help helmets for kids, or helmets for heads rather, and see little kids get some protection. Subscribe to his channel, and then I don't know what your donation amount is, but whatever it is, we'll make it happen, and I'll just match it, and that way we'll be able to protect more kids.
it's a good cause.
Yeah, what Goldfinger does, he goes to the local schools and sets it up with them. The first hand, the teachers get involved, and we have grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line up, and that way we've got the right size helmet, or he's got the right size helmet for the right size head, and it's much more orderly.
Right now I'm doing a series on Luzon, and my video actually starts out leaving the Manila airport. I had my friend send me a few minutes, and then it shows landing in Anglos. And if you walk out the door, you take a left, there's the taxis, this is how much to the hotel. Walk straight ahead, you can get a bus to Baguio, you can get a bus to Anglos Terminal, or you can go to Manila Airport, or you can go to Pasay. So when you come, you'll actually be able to look and see exactly what you're going to see when you get on the ground. So you'll know where to turn left. I walked by, one guy said, how much for a ride to the Sogo? He said 500. I said, okay, thanks. I walked away. He said 400. Then I got down a little further with a taxi, the blue ones that use the meter, it's 300. And that was the guy. So how to get to the mall to get your SIM cards for your phone to work. So it's just one of those things where you can watch the video. If you decide you want to go, you'll know basically when I get off the bus, this is what it's going to look like.
Those are super helpful videos. I watched similar ones that Rike used to do. I don't know if you know who Rike is, Life Beyond the Sea.
Yeah.
So he was my go-to guy back when I was watching YouTube. And he did similar things, and I use that information. And I'm so glad you're doing that because it's time for an update.
His are good. Mine are a little bit different than his, but it's similar.
Yeah.
His talks about the area, and mine talks about getting to the area. And I'll have videos like in Baguio of maybe botanical gardens and sessions on Sunday, Burnham Park, the market, just these various things. You want to go there, if you're interested, you can take a look and say, I want to see that, I don't want to see that. You kind of know ahead of time.
Those are super helpful. And just the money you just saved the guys on the taxi, the aggravation, and then if you show how to get to the hotel. Because when you first get off the plane and you've never been here before, there's a lot coming at you. There's a lot of information, man. And you need to change a little bit of money. Stuff like bringing $100 bills, brand new from the bank, works the best. Change 100 at the airport and wait till later to get a better exchange rate at another place. But have that money in your pocket. Get small bills. Get hundreds and 50s, not thousands, if you can avoid it.
Well, I tell everybody the first thing you want to bring is your patience, because you're going to need it. But if you can get your patience working for you, you're going to enjoy your visit a whole lot more. And also, there's a thing called remittance, or Remitly, and you can send money to yourself, and you can walk into almost any bank, China Bank, BDO, BPI, any of them, and they'll hand you the cash. And so that's a third alternative. And ATMs everywhere, not always working, but access to those kinds of things. Don't be too hung up on worrying about that, because it's really not a problem once you get here. It was a big concern for me.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, my wife wanted to get some money out of her bank account today, and they were all closed down. We were at Robinson's. So
Yeah.
And you know what? We just said, oh well. And we turned around, walked away, because we knew going in, we're armed with that information. That anytime I go out to do anything, you talk about managing expectations. Now I know that there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to meet failure. I'm not going to find it. It won't be there. It won't be working.
But it's acceptable.
But you know what? It's like, oh well.
Because the rest of life here is so laid back. I mean, you can't help but feel kind of that way because everything else is so laid back.
Right. So what has this done for your blood pressure?
You know, it seems like everybody asks that question. My blood pressure now is 120/80 consistently, which is not bad for an old guy. And I used to be more, it would be kind of all over the place. It would be a little bit high one day, low, all over the place. Now it's pretty much. I think my stress level is down by 80%.
Well, I was on 4 different medications when I came here, and I'm on none. I do have blood pressure meds at home that my doctor gave me because I was sick last month, and it was creating stress by being sick. If that makes any sense.
I have a good example for you.
Okay.
My doctor prescribed me up to 3 Xanax a day, and I haven't taken any in 9 months, 12 months, something like that. That's a pretty heavy dose, and I don't miss it. I don't need it.
No. Well, I had those in the States, and when I came over here, I already knew that I wanted to be done with that. And so I started to wean myself off those because, well, I don't want to get into the big pharma thing, but by the time I got here, I was down to such a micro dose that it didn't matter. And I went through a couple of fitful nights, and then it was done. And that was another thing off the friggin' menu. I didn't have to worry about, hey, do I have my pills with me? Do I have to turn around and go back and get them because I forgot them? Do I have to buy them? Do I have to find them? Do I have to get them? Do I have to show my ID? And you worry about, your life starts to revolve, because you're an addict. You start to revolve around that. And so that went out the window my first week here.
And the reasons I needed them is what no longer exists. You know, the stress, so many things. And it just seemed to all have melted away. And the first few months I was here, every month I'd get my Social Security check. And for some reason that was a trigger when I would realize I'm just not as stressing as much about it as I did last month. And that was my monthly thing. I'm not as stressed as I was last month. Not as stressed as I was last month. And then the no Xanax or it just doesn't matter. I do not miss it. I don't need it.
No. And I take reassurance in knowing that every month my check's going to be the same. Because I was on commission. So
Me too.
I would have a big month, and then I would have 2 months that weren't so great. And it was this roller coaster ride of trying to balance things. So I took great reassurance when I got over here, saying, okay, I got this static number, and it's my job just to figure out how to balance that out. So what do? Well, I get my money, and then I portion off my rent and pay that right away, get that over with. And then I set aside this much for electricity, and the rest is for food and gasoline and anything else that I run into.
I can't care. I take my fiber optic is $50 a month. I have 2 air conditioners in my house, so refrigerator, just everything electrical. So that's going to run about $140 a month. Has been higher and lower, and then rent like $4,000, $5,000 a month, and it would be probably 15 to 20 here. But even that, if you add all that up, I mean that's less than $1,000 a month. So then you just have to worry about your insurance and a few other things, whatever your priorities are. Mm-hmm. But it's so simple, it's so easy.
And what do you do all day if you live out in the province?
What I do is I get up early because it's cool. I'll take the jeepney down to the gym, which is 80 pesos. And then from there I'll walk down to the public market where everything is fresh, broccoli, carrots, whatever I want, chicken, pork, you name it. Not much beef here, but there's fish. I get enough to last about 2 days, and then I go back to the jeepney. It costs me 12 pesos to ride back, probably 3 kilometers, and then I walk about a quarter mile home. And get home probably maybe say 10:30, and then depending on the weather outside, how hot it is, I might go out and clean I try to keep this little jungle area cleared out, and it's my backyard. And that's pretty much a simple day for me. Watch TV, work on editing videos.
Okay.
What about you?
Boy, it's gone through a big metamorphosis since day one to today. It's a good question. I usually have about 4 hours out and about. What I have here is what I always desired and never had in America.